Hello there and welcome back to the Suffolk Business Podcast. Today we are with Mark Patterson of Clip and Climb Ipswich to discuss his journey. Mark, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
No problem. All well. Thanks for having me.
Good. Mark, tell us a little bit about Clip and Climb straight away and the journey you've had. I know a lot of people will believe that Clip and Climb is a franchise in itself when actually this isn't the case here. So tell us a little bit about Clip and Climb, what you do, how you do it.
I guess the idea was born a couple of years back, and took a year in terms of design, planning, etc., etc. We got a spade in the ground back in July 2018, so the actual build took about a year, and it's effectively called Clip and Climb Ipswich, but it's myself and Josh Davey, along with another shareholder, as an independent centre. So we thought a couple of years ago that family entertainment in and around Ipswich and Suffolk needed something like Clip and Climb for youngsters, adults alike, aligned with the fantastic cafe we have, and so far so good.
No, you have a cafe in there, Paddy and Scott's, right?
Yeah, Paddy and Scott's cafe. So that was a dual branding exercise to begin with, it's going fantastic. I think we've turned a lot of things on its head with regards. You take youngsters to family entertainment centres like a climate centre or a soft play or wherever, and sometimes you go there and the kids have a great time because it is what it is, but the parents and ultimately the bill payers just get whatever they get, whereas we've tried to do it the other way around and make it a lovely experience for the people who are taking the children there or watching, and so they can have some good food and good coffee, as well as the people they're taking having a great time.
Nice. And in terms of your background as well, obviously you know Jack really well. You've known Jack since he was tiny.
It's been a
Very
pleasure.
Yeah, still a bit tiny really. But give us a bit of a background about you, Mark, and how you actually got into now running this business.
So the short, abridged version of me ended up, I suppose, sitting here really was back in '96. Came over to play cricket for a week on trial with Surrey. That went well. Stayed for a month. I made my first class debut, and did well in that. Signed for 2 years, and so I came across from Belfast for a week and never really been home. Through various injuries, unfortunately, about 2001, I retired from first class cricket and then topped up my degree with a teaching qualification. Unfortunately, when my now wife's mum passed away in 2003, we decided to move closer to one of our families, and there was a job come up at where Jack went to school at St Joseph's College. I ended up there running the cricket for a year and then took over as director of sport. So I spent a brilliant 15 years at St Joseph's, and then at the end of being director of sport for 13 years, I did a role that was linked to marketing and admissions and recruitment and stuff like that. When they rightly moved that all under one roof, it became very much an office job. And as Jack will know, the main reason for me getting involved in teaching was working with children in sports teams and rugby, cricket, hockey, football, whatever it might be. So at that stage, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I knew that an office 9-to-5 job wasn't for me. And it was when you're put in a position where you have to try and find something else to do, you think about things a lot quicker and you fast forward things a lot quicker. And a few key conversations with a few key people, it seemed that if we did it in the right way, in the right place, that something like we've done with Clip and Climb was doable in the area.
Yeah, I mean, just for context for the audience as well, your business partner, Josh Davey, also went to St Joseph's College, didn't he?
He did, yeah. So my relationship with Josh was I was best friends with his father, and Josh was head boy at the school and first 11 cricket captain. So in particular, I had a lot of good time with Josh when he was a lot younger. He's a lot younger than me. I think he's 30 in a couple of weeks. And our main investor was a very good friend of his father's. And when we put our business plan to him and fleshed it out with financial models, etc., he basically said, if you're keen and would do this with Josh, then it's something that I'd be more than happy to back. So he's come in as a sort of silent investor, shareholder, etc., but it has facilitated what we've done, and without him we wouldn't have been able to do it. So.
No, brilliant.
So is there any similarities with being a sports coach to now running a business? Is there anything you can easily transition
Yeah, I think there is a lot, and mostly how you look after your employees as part of a team. So we've created, I honestly think, a fantastic team culture within the people that work for our business, whether they are permanent staff, part-time, full-time, or whether they're younger staff, sixth form students, university students who just come in and work at weekends or during holiday time. So yeah, Josh and I have discussed that a lot, and Josh has come from a big team background as well, and that allied to the mistakes that I think people have made trying to manage and lead me, or do that, or done that poorly. I've tried to make sure I haven't replicated that now that I'm in a position where I'm in charge and with Josh and leading the business, and looking after your employees, whether it's a cleaner or whether it's one of your right hand men. You got to, they're the ones that make your business tick really well, and I think that's probably the thing that we have done best as a business, as a startup business.
It's great because everyone we've had on this podcast so far has really kind of dialed in the importance of building culture in their teams and in the staff. So a huge well done on that. And when I go into the centre, you can certainly see that everyone enjoys their job. Everyone enjoys working with the kids and adults who are climbing, which is a testament to you guys. So well done.
Yeah, it's a really good place to work. We've got a superb centre that lends itself to this anyway. But we have a once a month staff get together, which is a get together with some food and a few drinks or whatever. But we then do some training with them as well, and in terms of month to month inset training, and the team is built really really well, and a lot of the temporary part-time staff realise that it is a fantastic place to work because you're dealing with people who are happy and having fun, and with all due respect to any job, you at that age, like you and I have probably done when we were that age, you could be stacking shelves or flipping burgers. So it's for me, if I was that age again, it's a bit of a no-brainer compared to what you could be doing.
Yeah, there's not a lot of friction to the customer, is there? Well,
no,
they go there to climb and enjoy climbing.
Yeah, and 99.9% of them leave, and as they leave, it's thank you, had a great time, etc. So you're dealing with happy people, like you said, Jack. Whether it's young children or adults, we've got a massive amount of adults and teenage people that climb as well. So it is far from just a kids thing, but we've designed it in that way, and it's worked out fantastically. And in terms of our hopes of going across a broad age spectrum.
Amazing. How did it, obviously I know you mentioned your transition into running the business now. What was the process like right at the beginning? Because I imagine it didn't just happen overnight. I imagine this planning did it start a long time ago? Yeah,
the planning really started back in 2015, I suppose, really. Even when I was still employed at St. Joseph's, I was working, when I wasn't there, at things we could do and what we were going to put in place. And the biggest thing that I realised early on with Josh was we didn't know what we were doing. So we had to get key people around us, and going back to the things about sports teams, we got a fantastic project manager and project team around us, great set of architects, civil engineers, our M&E guys, etc. So I've learned through other people's mistakes that if you don't know something about something, the best thing to do is actually get somebody who does, and don't pretend you do, and stick on a hat and pretend you know about an aspect of construction if you know nothing about it, because not only will you fail, but you look quite daft as well. It's very see-through. Some people think that they can wing it and they can pretend that they know what they're doing. But if you're talking to somebody who is experienced and that's their field of expertise, you can't get involved in that. So you just got to get the right people that you trust and to do it, and then let them loose, so to speak. So the team that we built prior to building the centre was key to where we sit right now.
We always say stay in your lane, don't we?
Stay in your lane.
There's
there's a massive ROI in that, and people don't get it. We obviously work with clients and we manage their social and build their content, and they always say if we were to do this, we could try and do this, but we would never gain the ROI if we would have got you to do it. Do you see what I mean? So
yeah,
it's definitely a stay in your lane situation.
It is, and I think ironically, when you then give those people, empower them to actually do the job, and they realise you trust them to do it, you get the returns tenfold
and quicker as well.
Yeah, massively.
More than often. I've looked into things before, and I've felt like, I'd love to do that, but actually it will take me a good week to do, whereas I could outsource it to somebody else and it can get done in 15 minutes.
Yeah, but it's a refreshing thing for those people, I think, sometimes they hear as well, where they go, so what do you think? I'm thinking about doing this, and you go, well, not really too sure, not my field of expertise. That's why we've employed you. You tell me.
Empowering.
Actually, it is. It's massively empowering, and they're okay. And especially if you can sometimes use the phrase, it's a blank canvas. You tell me, excite me, come up with something that nobody's done before, or something that you're going to be really, really proud of. Okay, brilliant. And then away they go and come up with whatever.
See, I think that is a big sports coach mentality. To be able to actually give people the freedom and to make them feel empowered to actually go out on the pitch, on the rugby field, wherever, and actually give their best performance. So I think you've obviously taken that from your coaching days as well. And I think it's massive as well. Like, I've worked in companies before where everything was micromanaged. They would look at something and they would say, no, I don't really want to look at that. Can we add a bit of red into that? Or can we add a bit of blue into it? Can we change the font there? And suddenly I was doing work for them and not for myself, which obviously there's an element of that always, but the best work is given to you when you have that freedom just to do what you want.
Yeah, definitely. Who enjoys micromanagement, and who does it work for? It doesn't work for the person that's being micromanaged. It doesn't work for the person who's micromanaging, because you should be doing something different. So Josh and I, we had to obviously roll our sleeves up in the first 2 or 3 months and do everything. But now we try our very, very best to be working on the business rather than in the business, and actually filtering that down to our middle managers as well. So you've got a middle manager who's running around doing this, that and the other, and doing it brilliantly, but you're thinking, do you know what? We don't pay you to do that. We, with all due respect, there's people that you need to delegate better. So one of the things Josh and I have learned a lot through our business coach, a guy called Phil Budd from Action Coach out in Bury St Edmunds, is that you have to do that. And if you're trying to protect your business and making sure that you're keeping people employed and paying their wages, etc., the best way you can do that is working on your business. Because if your business fails, you end up, the people you're trying to protect and make sure that you paying their wages for their families or whatever, suddenly they've got no job. So at times it's educating the people that you work for as well that this is, don't expect myself and my business partner to come in and be doing this. I know it will help your job in a way, but actually it doesn't. And then it's back to the same phrase of empowering people to do various bits and pieces. And the middle management structure we have at the centre have responded phenomenally well to the more you give them. Not overloading them, but the more responsibility you give them, most good employees actually step up to the plate.
Motivates you.
Yeah, it does, definitely. And then they become part of the bit. They feel more part of the business rather than clock in, clock out. And suddenly, you've tried to get it to that position, but all of a sudden, it's naturally and organically become a really good team.
That's really cool. What you said there about you spending time on the business and not within the business to make sure that you can pay people and then they can feed their families and stuff. Ray Dalio talks about that a lot, and the responsibility that managers and bosses have towards their whole workplace, and that's what a lot of startups especially, but a lot of managers and business owners get wrong.
Well, I think it's like I always say, like the staff that need micromanagement, you don't kind of want them there.
No,
because they're the ones that need that guidance, and they need somebody to rely on and to give them instructions and to tell them how to do things. But the people you want there are the people who don't require any micromanagement, who are responsible enough, who have that confidence to go out there and actually do it how they believe it should be done.
That's it.
And then you're then going to get the best results.
Any business is all about the people.
100%. And if there's a big decision to be made or something that is going to impact in the business, then come and speak to me. But apart from that, crack on. This is your area. We've employed you because we believe in you and trust in what you're doing. So you crack on and do it. And then in terms of time efficiency, it's better for everybody.
Your staff stay there longer. 100%.
What about meetings? How long are your meetings? This is a topic that's coming up recently.
We try to make them short, and snappy, but meetings are key. Meeting with your key stakeholders is a huge thing. I remember when I took over the sport at St Joseph's, there was no such thing as departmental meetings or meeting in terms of the sport, meeting with the ground staff once a week to tell them what pitches you need, when you needed them marked out by, and to begin with it was a little bit, what are we doing this for? But then within a couple of weeks, everyone is sort of saying, well, how did we ever survive without having meetings like this? Because, you know, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing unless it tells it. And so it's very important that you don't overdo meetings and have meetings for the sake of meetings. But, you know, if you leave a 20-minute meeting and everyone is actually feeling a lot happier and a lot calmer about things, then obviously that meeting was worthwhile doing in the first place.
It's when the 20-minute one turns into 2-hour one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's happened.
I've had that plenty of times.
Yeah. I mean, it's happened to everybody, especially towards the end of the day. You sit down for 10 minutes, and the next thing it's 7:30 at night.
Yeah.
But I would like to think that myself in particular, that you sort of see that this can be done tomorrow, or actually no, I'm really sorry guys, let's just stuck in and get this get it done. Yeah, because if you're doing, like I say, if you're doing things for the sake of them, and it's a little bit the sport analogy would be, perfect practice makes perfect. Not just practicing, but actually practice hard for 30 minutes, and you'd know where your golf jack. And if you don't go out and putt for 4 hours, spend 20 minutes focusing on some aspect of what you're doing, and it's exactly the same in business. I think
it's also what they talk about revising in 30-minute stints.
That's it. Yeah.
Revise 30 minutes, break. Revise 30 minutes, break. Startups are obviously really tough, and this is a complete startup. As we said, this isn't a franchise. So talk about the challenges you had early in, well, only a few months back, really, and what really stands out to be like whoa, this isn't good, we need to sort this.
I guess the things that stand out most, and it would be the same, I would say, that Josh would say if he was here, was pre-open. Everything to do, every day was a challenge, because you're juggling balls, and sometimes it's not just one hits the ground. You got to decide which one's you're gonna let hit the ground, because you can't juggle them all. With any startup, I think most people would answer the same question: financial constraints and financial worries. How are you gonna pay that, cash flow problems, etc. So we've been really lucky. We've been really successful in the first 4 months, but that doesn't mean that you don't have pinch points with regards to cash flow. So the best piece of advice, I think, even though we're very, very new into what we're doing, the best piece of advice I could give any new startup is get the right people alongside you. Get a business coach, get somebody who knows what they're doing, get a bookkeeper, who's going to look after your numbers, who's going to look after your VAT, your tax returns, who you owe what to, when you owe it. They're going to a schedule of payments, etc. Otherwise, it's just all over the place. So prior to the build, I was dealing with all those, and you think you're doing it quite well until you give it to somebody who knows what they're doing, and they go, flip me, how have you got to this position?
How have I survived?
Yeah.
we're massive on a mentorship, and I think it's crazy that there are loads of business owners out there that don't invest in a mentor or a coach or somebody who has been there, done it, has that experience, and also has made the mistakes before you do.
Yeah.
Who knows what could be coming, has made the mistakes, has learned from them. So we kind of see it as insurance for your business, isn't it?
Josh and I laugh our head off at the moment, and we've been with our business coach now probably about 6 to 8 weeks, so maybe a bit more, maybe 10 weeks. And we would have got to where we want to get to, and where we need to get to eventually, but we'll get there 10 times quicker now. We see him once a fortnight, and when we leave the meetings, you feel really empowered, you feel energized,
clarity and
yeah,
thoughts.
That's it.
Yeah.
But he also they focus you in terms of what the key things are, what are the easy wins, and when you get those easy wins done, then how do you sort of chip away at the various margins, and accountability is a big thing as well. He's a great guy, our coach, but he also he holds us to account, and it's a bit like a teacher holding you account with assignments and homework. He says, right, so for in the next 2 weeks, these are the key action points. You need to write them down. When you've done them, here's when we're going to do them by. Let's agree when we're going to agree targets. So he's happy for you to say, I don't think it's realistic that we'll have that done in the next 2 weeks. Okay, we'll shelve it and do it for 2 weeks after. But it starts to put a little bit of pressure, good pressure on you, and it makes then Josh and I feed off each other a lot in terms of have you done this? Well, no. Yeah, I've done that. Have you done this? And that would be the key piece of advice in terms of people. It would be somebody who knows what they're doing business wise, and somebody who's good with numbers. Because even if you're very good with numbers, you need to be.
You are good with numbers, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good with them. I enjoy numbers. I always have done. Right back to school. And I did maths right all the way through to A level. But I've now realise that being good with numbers and enjoying numbers is a different thing when you're involved with numbers in business.
Yeah, massively different.
I am.
You're terrible.
So coming back to staying in your lane, I know I never need to add anything up because I'll rely on Jack for that. But
and you'll laugh because he did most of my GCSE.
Yeah, but again, going back to our business coach, I mean, one of the numbers tell a story as well. They don't tell lies. Do you know what I mean? So if you think you're doing okay in this, we'll just flesh out the numbers and see what the numbers tell, because the numbers might tell you a better story or a worse story. And if they tell you that, a worse story, you've got to then do something about it. And that's where you make your marginal gains as well, your big gains, but also your marginal gains. So yeah, that would be priceless piece of advice.
Get a financial expert in charge of your P&L.
Correct. Correct.
What are your hopes and aims for the next, let's say the next year? I know you're busy, right?
Yeah, busy, but I mean, we constantly challenge ourselves with regards what is going to come next. I can't see another centre like we've built on the horizon at all. I don't know if we want to, because it's just Josh and I, but it is phases after phase. So we've just put in 10 days ago a brand new soft play, which has been a bit of a game changer for midweek stuff in particular. So for the parents who drop their 6-year-old to school and then they've got a 2-year-old in the car and want to meet up with their friends for a coffee somewhere, and that's been hugely successful. And we've got two or three other phases that we want to do quite quickly. One of them is a fantastic thing linked to technology, which will be watch this space for sort of mid-year next year. But we want to also do something related to maybe like a sort of kiosk or a concession van out the front, because where we're located, as you guys know, in Ransome's Euro Park is a big business estate. There's lots of footfall and traffic that go past our front door, and we serve fantastic food and fantastic coffee. But for some people to come up and into our centre, they don't do it. But actually, if you're walking past somewhere and you can get lovely coffee, that's it. So that's on the horizon as well. We've got new business units being built directly behind us, so there's a lot of collaboration work to do there. And one of the best problems we've come across, we've got 70 car parking spaces. When we're rammed, it's not enough. So we've got to just try and work out what we're going to do there, because we can't obviously magic a bit more land. So we just got to box clever there with regard to some of the local businesses, and Macro in particular next door have been fantastic with helping us with that. But again, we've had nothing but, I think, good problems. Problems
that you like to have.
And again, the soft place created that. Tomorrow we're getting our gate moved because it was a little bit close to the stairs. We're creating a one-way system and stuff. Good problems. We opened the centre during term time at 11 o'clock. Not quite early enough for soft play. Good problem. And how we man it and staff it at the weekends, a good problem again. But we had last weekend, we put some of our younger members of staff in there. It's been absolutely brilliant, in terms of, for us, I guess, money well spent, because the parents who thought they were going to have to come with their 2 or 3 year olds and take their shoes off and get in there, we've got a 15-year-old in there who just plays with the kids. Yeah, it's been really good.
It's funny. Literally just listening to a book about this. Every business has problems. It just depends on how good they are.
Yeah, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. Actually, you're going to have a lot of problems. We've had very few really bad problems. In fact, most, and even the ones that you think they're not great, you've a choice of whether that you can put a positive spin on them or a negative spin on them. And I think from everybody's mindset in the business, the more positive and glass half full that problems are seen as, the more that becomes a cultural thing.
Finally, my last question: where's your business address? Where is Clip and Climb for our audience? And social media, where can they find you, on which handles?
Okay, good questions. Social media, I'm a bit of a dinosaur in a way, but I do know the answer to the question. So where we are geographically is on Ransome's Euro Park. So we're a couple of 100 metres on up past David Lloyd, on the same side of the road as David Lloyd, and right next door to Macro. So our address is 2 Berwick Road. We had to build a new road, and Royal Mail gave us a new postcode, which messed us about for a few months. But yeah, it's right beside Macro. It is very, very easy to find. Yep. In terms of social media and everything like that, so obviously our website is www.clipandclimbipswich.com, and then we've got all the various handles through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the ones that you would expect.
Clip and Climb Ipswich will take you there.
Yeah, anything on any search engine, Clip and Climb Ipswich, will take you there. The booking of a slot is really straightforward. You pick your day, you pick your time, you see the availability. 1, 2, 3 clicks, pay, done.
Nice.
Turn up, give us your surname.
Taking out friction,
Easy,
Jake.
yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, it's really easy. So at the moment, it's £12.50 for a climb. That's whether you're 4 or 100,
price as well.
104. Yeah.
Have you had anybody 104 come for a climb?
I think the oldest person we've had for proper climb is 82. Done the drop slide. Done the leap.
They're still with us.
Still with me, brilliant, absolutely brilliant to see. To such an extent, that sort of age range, I think, you talk about what we're going to do, progressing on. We're definitely going to have, I think, a pensioners evening.
Yeah, 100%.
Because there are a lot of over 60s who and they love it as well.
Yeah, climbing's accessible for everyone.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, it is. And one of the nicest things that I've seen, my two boys now are 10 and 13, but when you look at older teenage kids, there's not an awful lot of stuff that teenagers can do with their parents. But on evening slots in particular, the number of 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds we see there with their mum and dad is brilliant. They're having a good time, having a laugh, and generally there's not much for that age of kids to do with their parents. It's been good, and that's maybe a good one to finish with. The enjoyment of people in general has been the nicest thing of setting up the business. Yeah,
cool. Amazing. Well, I was going to ask what your favourite thing about running the business is,
and what the favourite thing about being a business owner is, but I think we just
kind of got that.
Happy customers, and by happy I don't just mean happy in terms of they're pleased with what they got. I mean genuinely happy and laughing and giggling, and the cafe on the mezzanine floor sometimes creates like an amphitheatre where you get, say it's a youngish kid who's up on the leap of faith, gets stuck a little bit, everyone sort of goes towards it, starts clapping, and it's really good fun.
Amazing.
Thanks so much for joining us, Mark.
Likewise,
it's been an absolute joy, and anyone who wants to go climb, take your kids climbing, go to Clip and Climb, I can say it's hugely worth it. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.